Hello, welcome to the Mark Attwood Show, Adventures in a Cosmic Suit. Today, I've got one of my favorite subjects. It's UFOs, it's little people, it's orbs, it's all that crazy stuff that's had people laughing at me for the last 30 years. But the fact is that I'm an ex-pilot and I've seen thousands and thousands of UFOs all over the world since I was a little boy. This year, I actually had a star ask me if I was afraid, and I said no. And then this white light came in front of me, literally a few hundred feet up, and then a big blast of light. And I saw for the first time a triangular shaped craft with interesting markings on, and then it just went off. So this year has been one where I've talked about this stuff online because I think it's extremely important that when in actual fact, what I think is going on is that they want to be known. Okay. And a lot of people that I've met over the years have kept this kind of thing to themselves because obviously ridicule. But fortunately, I live in a town, well, I have done for the last 3 years, a town I've been coming to for about 20 plus years, which was the headquarters of the UFO Society of Ireland, because there was an amazing woman here, and go and research her, Betty Mailer, who ran this UFO Society here, and a lot of the locals laughed at her, but she put the town on the map, in fact, because she got thousands of people here for conferences and things like that. And according to local legend, you'd find her out on the local lake with a divining rod looking for a portal. Now, having been here a number of years, I've met a number of people who know what I do, who've been very kind and taken me to one side and told me stuff. I know the precise locations of the portals nearby in the lake especially. I have met 2 of 3 people that I know were abducted back in the 60s, who won't talk about it anymore because the RTE, which is the Irish equivalent of the BBC, did a program taking the mickey out of them. So they get quite angry if you ask them about it now. But they did tell me about it about 10 years ago in detail what happened to them, which literally happened. I can see where it happened from the back of my house. So the other thing about Ireland, and everybody knows this, is like about the fairies or the little people. And I've met absolutely loads of people that have told me that they see them all the time. In fact, I remember meeting a guy a couple of years ago who'd spent a lot of money building a house, getting planning permission. And he was telling me the story of how he had to trick the planners into letting him build over here instead of over here on the land, because he knew over here was a fairy fort and you don't do that. Okay. And he knew not to do that. So there's an awful lot of people in this country that are still connected to these beings. And what's good is people are starting to talk more openly about these things without fear of ridicule. I mean, in this time that we're in, there is nothing to fear. There is no ridicule to fear. We're in the craziest time in history. I personally think anybody watching this that has had experiences or has experiences should come out and talk about it, because it makes everybody else feel more comfortable about it. Because when you have supernatural experiences, you do sound crazy to the people that have never had those things, but you don't sound crazy to the people who've had them but didn't say anything about it. So it was one of the things that I've enjoyed about this channel the most since I started it, is that people have emailed me stuff about their experiences, and to be honest, a lot of those people have said, "Well, I'm not ready to go online. I'm not ready to go online." But I got an email about 9 months ago from a woman in Ireland who sent me some pictures, and I was like, "God, these are great. Do you want to come on the show?" And she said, "Oh, no, I'm not ready for that." But she emailed me last week and said, "Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready now." So it was with great pleasure that I introduced to you Helen. Hi, Helen.
Hello. Hi. Nice to meet you.
How's it going?
Fine, thank you.
As we say locally.
Yeah, I know. All is good.
So, Helen, what's your story?
My story is Last November, we were getting some pretty amazing moons. So I started looking up. And I remember yourself, I was following yourself at that stage. And I remember you saying about flashes of light appearing. And yes, we got that here. And as the nights progressed, I saw a spinning object in the sky. And I went, oh my goodness. So I ran to get my smartphone, take a photograph, take a video, and it was spinning. I thought, wow. So over the corresponding nights after that, 2 would appear, 3 would appear.
Can I ask you what colour that was, Helen?
Bright white.
And there was it? How was it spinning?
Close up. Well, it was the energy field around it.
The reason I'm asking is because I had an experience about 3 weeks ago of a light spinning in my bedroom, and it was making this noise.
Me too. Yes.
It was making this noise.
Oh.
It was like that.
Okay.
And I got a very strong feeling that it was a portal opening. But what?
Mine are, I was calling them beings initially because I thought they were single living entities themselves and they had this energy force around them. Anyway, more and more came down. And then over the course of a few weeks, as I stood at the gable end of my house, they started to come down very low, very, very low, to within 50 feet of me. And one of the nights I got brave enough to take a step forward towards them, but they backed off completely. They obviously didn't want any interaction. Two separate energies. They just wouldn't mix, But my dogs reacted to them. They were barking at them, so I knew they were real. I wasn't imagining it. And then one night, I was at my front door, and one came down. I mean, I had my head tilted looking at him. He had his light off, so he was that shape. 2 little pinpricks for eyes here. We stared at one another. We just took each other in. And then he shot off down to the gable end of my house with his light back on. I followed him. And since then, it's like every friend and family and neighbor has come with him. I've hundreds in the sky at night, some nights.
You mean his friends and family, not yours?
Not mine. No. His definitely. Yes. So that then ceased. The beans didn't come down. And only in the last couple of weeks, I've had one night where they came down again. And luckily, it's always very late at night when it's very quiet and very dark. One came down and I actually had my phone in my hand. So I was able to get a photograph up. So it was just beautiful. And then according as it went away, I took another photograph and you can see a triangular one, for the want of a better word, star and 1 star and 1 star. So a triangular shape. So possibly that was the mothership in the background.
What makes you say mothership out of interest?
They look very connected. Those trio, they look very connected. There's nothing in the middle between them, but they move around like this, They arrive like this, but they have their own, they all have their own formations that they come in. One is in the shape of the Big Dipper, So I have lots of triangles over the house. And lots of single solitary ones that will move around. I get flybys, and it's gas what becomes your norm. I have 2 fields directly in front of my house, and then there's a line of big beech trees. I'd say they're about 70 foot high. So there's ships come down over there the whole time on top of these trees, but the moon sometimes rises behind these trees, and it's usually bright red. And if I go for a walk there's a laneway in front of my house. If I go for a walk down or up or whatever, the moon follows me. It stays parallel to me, right? And even if I come out from where there is open space for them, there's no, the trees end, it comes out into the open space to keep parallel with me. But the last time that happened to me, I knew then that they were looking for me to start showing what I had. It was a sign. I was walking back up my laneway and the moon, by normal night, was keeping parallel with me. And with that, shooting star down real low, directly on path with the laneway I was on, frightened the bitches. And it was going the whole way over my head. I went, oh my God. So I talked to some very awake and open friends, and they said, Helen, it's time for you to start talking. They want you to do something. They want you to show what you
That's the thing. They are. prodding, and I've had
Yes,
signs
yes,
and all sorts of things from lots
yes,
of places.
yes.
That it's like,
I was getting the proverbial boot. Yes, come on, do something. Yeah.
But have you got a history of this, Helen, or is this like a recent thing?
Recent thing, but I always knew there was something. I just felt I was always different. I never fit in anywhere. There was just something different. I wasn't the norm. I love sci-fi. Yeah, I just never fit in anywhere. You know, the pubs and
you're in good company then.
yeah, I know. So I found my my little group, Connecting Consciousness. I joined them, and since then, wow, I've had a great awakening. People with like-minded, people with similar experience, healers. They're marvelous to be around. They've been a great support to me. I mean, they come around here. One of the pictures you're going to show was the very first contact I had with Connecting Consciousness. Was local members, and they called around to have a look at the sites. And if I know that people are calling around to meet my Sky family, more arrive. They look forward to meeting new energies, I think. And generally what happens is when these people go home, they get followed. They're followed home. So they get to see them for themselves outside their own home then at night. So it's about me. I think I'm a facilitator now. I facilitate people coming here. Yeah.
You better get the kettle on, because I'm going to come and see you soon.
Great. Fantastic. Great.
Right. Let's dive in and have a look at some pictures, because over the years I've talked about UFO sightings and stuff, and then people say, why didn't you take a camera? And every time in the past I've taken a camera, it's just come out, it's not worked. And I've found I just stopped trying to take pictures. But I do go out every night and I look.
Oh, so
I think that's all it is. You know, I said, you know, while everybody else is sat in being brainwashed by RTE, BBC,
yeah. I have to remind myself to close my mouth. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But all people have to do is go out at night. I mean,
look up, know what's human life and what's not human. Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, you've graciously shared some pictures, and I've put these pictures in a PowerPoint slideshow. So I'm just going to load that up, and we'll have a look at some of these. Okay, let me just start the slideshow.
Oh yes, this is a very interesting one. Literally, I was going to bed very late one night, and I just stuck the camera out just in case I was missing something. Click. I went to bed. I'd say it was a couple of days later I happened to look at it, and I went, holy Lord. So if you're able to zoom into that bright light in the corner, in the middle of those trees.
Just there. Can you see my mouse?
Huh?
I don't know if you can see my mouse or not. I can see it, but you can't. Is that Zoom working? Oh.
No, well, not for me, no.
No, I don't think we have the capability of Zoom. I'm zooming in on that. That is a shit.
Yes. And there's 3 square lights in the middle of the trees. Yes.
Oh, no, that really is amazing. Hang on a sec. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because I'm going to try and do something technical here, because that is so good. What I need to do is take a zoom in of the picture of that light itself and see if I can share that, because I just zoomed in on it and I could see it, but I don't think the viewers will be able to see it. So I'm just going to do this.
Okay.
See if this works. I've zoomed in, taken a screenshot, then I'm stopping that, and I'm going to attempt to share this file. Would it be a video file? Let's have a look. No, done. That's not working. Will this work? Yeah, sorry for this technical thing, guys. This really is worth waiting for. So I'm just going to drop this in as a slide to the PowerPoint. Technically challenged here.
Oh,
well, actually, I'm not that technically challenged. I'm just
no, you're looking at the technically challenged.
I'm just saying stuff while I'm buying time, because this really is worth sharing it if this has worked. Do you know what? It's come up as it's pixelated as bugger. Right, okay. So I think, yeah, let's try this. Yeah, nearly there. This is why nobody believes UFO stories, because the pictures always look like this. But I'm gonna attempt this. Okay, So this is the best I can do.
Ooh.
So this is a zoom in of that dot that's above the trees. And when I zoom in on my computer, it looks like a ship with a light. And I think it's pixelated there, but you can see it's a ship.
Okay. Now, if you could go down further into the trees, you'll see the square windows I was talking about.
Well, oh, those ones there, the lights at the bottom.
Yes.
What are they?
They're square windows. Square windows. I'm telling you, go and look. It's agricultural land.
The thing is, I can zoom in and see that, but I can't show the viewers, unfortunately, because it's going to be, that is incredible.
Well, I have it up. I have my own Telegram page. I only started a couple of weeks ago, so they're welcome to come and have a look.
What's your Telegram page?
Stargate Era.
Stargate Era.
EIRE. Stargate Era.
Oh, as in Ireland.
Yes.
Yeah. Said correctly. I did a poem recently when I had to ask somebody, how do I pronounce this properly? Because I don't want to get it wrong.
I know.
And there's about 10 different pronunciations of it. I've taken a screenshot of that. I'm just seeing if I can do the same with that, because that is phenomenal.
Yes, and that's nothing. I mean, gosh, another night I wasn't allowed to take a photograph. They wouldn't let me.
Oh my God, that's incredible. Yeah, hang on. Right. Yeah, we're going to have to get together so that I can do all this technical stuff for you on off-site. So let's just check this again. Right. So in the PowerPoint now, tell me if you can see that. Can you see that?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay. So this is a close-up of what's in the trees.
And
that's and you're saying this is agricultural land.
Yes.
There's nothing behind this.
Nothing. Well, there's a house on the far right. It's like 2 fields over on the far right hand side, but nothing.
There's no road here. Nothing.
Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. And look at. I mean, you can see all the light in the trees.
Yes, extraordinary.
Yes. No, a different night there was last January. Now I couldn't get a photograph. They wouldn't permit me to get a photograph. I came out and I was looking across the fields, and there was what looked like the moon, had a full, huge, luminescent moon had landed down behind the trees. Now they're like 70-foot trees, and it was just a tad below the top of the trees and several trees wide. But instantly I came out, my stomach felt sick because the trees were like this shimmering with the energy of this moon. But I have since discovered it was probably, Ted Marr actually told me it was a craft that had landed down behind the trees, and that I wasn't permitted. It was too soon for disclosure.
Okay, so when did you take this picture?
Oh, geez, I'd have to look into it. It was quite like February, maybe March, February.
This year. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've just zoomed back to the original picture. There's a barn on the left, what looks like a barn.
Yeah.
And this is just trees on the right-hand side of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are people. Is that a vehicle on the left, the far left? I can see.
It could be.
Yeah. So that's a farm, and then
yes, it could be a tractor or a car there. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't look like anything agricultural I've ever seen.
No, nothing at all. No.
Did you see it? Did you see it actually move into position, or was
I saw no with my naked eye? I knew there would. See, the elementals come out of that corner. When they come out, they're just globes of light, and they're bounding around. They have a little pattern that they keep doing, you know. And if it's a wet night, they get really animated and they're really bounding around, you know. So I just thought it's elementals. So I put the camera out, click, got it, and I went to bed. So I didn't realize what I caught.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay.
I was permitted to take that photo. Yes.
When you say permitted, do you get a? Are you psychic? Do you get words in your head or a feeling? What do you get?
I would get feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, I get the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the next picture.
Oh yes, this is my little friend. This is the one I was telling you about that comes down.
And this is the fellow at the bottom here by the shed.
That's a house, and that's a light that's just external to the house. So discard that. But in the background, you'll see the blue orb and the red orb down the land, down the field. But above that, then over my garden, and I'd say within 50 feet of me, was this little beam that came down and loitered. So we just stare at one another, basically. You know, we don't interact, but we feel each other's energy, I suppose. As I said before, in January, my dogs were reacting to them when they came down, so they always kept their distance. But I knew not to move forward or move. But luckily, I had my camera, my phone on me, so I was able to take the photograph. So
that light in the middle of the screen, is that the moon, or is that?
In the middle of the screen?
Yeah, the white light right in the middle of the screen.
Oh no, that's the creature that came down.
Oh, that's the one that came down.
Yes.
And the white light on the right down near the bottom.
That's a house with a light. Yeah.
And there's this red one that's a bit lower down.
Yeah, they're the orbs that come out from the bog. Yes, you see blue on the left and red on the right.
Yeah. So you sit and stare at each other. Do you communicate?
No, my pineal gland is not ready just yet. I'm working on it. It's becoming clear, but I'm not there just yet.
Yeah, you said something interesting before the call, before the recording, about your pineal gland being calcified. Now, anybody watching this that doesn't know this, Ireland has the most fluoridated water on the planet. It's the wettest country on earth, probably, and it's got the worst drinking water you can imagine.
Oh, yes.
And most people in Ireland don't realise this, which is why most people in Ireland walk around with masks on their face.
Yes.
With their fluoridated smiles.
Yes. Yes.
So have you been off the fluoride recently? Is that part
I have for, most of this year. All of this year, actually, or beyond. Yeah, definitely.
When did you first find out about this calcification problem?
Oh, well, I woke August, so maybe September.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, I found out about 15 years ago, and none of my kids have had fluoride, and I've got all sorts of water filters and stuff like that. It's very important. Anybody watching this, don't consume fluoride.
Yes. It
will change your life. When your pineal gland starts working, it changes your life.
Yes.
And you realize what's really going on. Okay, let's move on to this one, because I love this as a picture anyway. Because is that a sheep or a dog?
Oh, it's my dog. They're very they're very reactive to all the presents here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you see, I have orbs that come up from the ground. I mean, primarily they're white, and they come. You can see behind the trees. I mean, that's all agricultural land. There's nothing there, nothing, and yet the trees look like they're burning. You know, and then there's always a funny cloud hanging over the trees. You can see the white light. Yeah. So always, I mean, any cloudy night, there's activity over there. And the dogs see them and they react to them. And particularly the blue orb, that white dog just goes bananas, barking at it. It's very, very active. It's showing its light off. But they sense all of these energies, definitely. I've tried going over to the field at dusk, and these energies are not interested in any interaction whatsoever. So,
I don't know what you think, but I think that's why they vaccinate animals, to try and destroy this connection, because the dogs are there to protect us, and the cats are there. They're protective animals, and they definitely see. I mean, the Egyptians revered cats as gods, and dogs are there to physically protect us. But if they disconnect them from this stuff, which I think
makes sense.
Yeah, that's what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Also to prep us all to vaccinate ourselves, because like I heard.
Yeah.
Cynical people watching this will say that's just the moon coming through the sky, through the clouds. What would you say to that?
Not a hope. Not a hope. There's too much activity over there. I mean, we have the orbs coming out of those trees and bouncing around the field. Absolutely not. And the dogs go mad barking at them anyway.
What kind of time of night was this, Helen?
Oh, it's usually late. It depends on when, because they come out at dusk. Well, actually, the elementals come out even just a little before dusk. As it's starting to get dark, they come out before the UFOs come down. And I do know it took me a very long time when I started seeing the UFOs, and then I started seeing the lights over in the trees. I had to figure out, was them that was coming down that was going over into the trees, or what? And then I was getting up for work a little bit earlier to watch everything. And I saw that the UFOs were ascending very, very, very slowly up into the sky. And I saw that the orbs or the elementals were going down lower and lower and gone. So I realized that there were two different things. But that took me a long while to realize that, because they're the same color,
Have you got any sense of what they're doing?
Of what they're doing? I think the elementals are very connected to the earth. I don't know if it's protection or what. They're very connected to the earth, and the wetter the earth is, the more activity there is. The clouds, the ships that come down, they use the clouds, like that photo there, to disguise themselves.
Yes.
But I've taken photographs of clouds that come down to the ground, big black clouds that come down to the ground and envelop those trees. I mean,
Well,
that's not normal.
you know, I said at the beginning of this, I used to be a pilot, and I did a meteorology O level when I was 14. And I talked to the kids, my kids, about clouds all the time. And the clouds I've been seeing in the last couple of years, a lot of them are not clouds.
Yeah, that's for sure.
They're literally not.
I will believe it, and I see it every night that we have bad weather. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm with you. This one's quite beautiful. What time was that taken? Do you remember?
It's usually late at night. Usually
Yeah,
late. Human activity goes way down. Midnight is a golden hour, somewhere between 11:30 and 12, half 12. A lot of activity. So you can see the kind of fire behind the trees. That's the elementals coming up and having a party that I wasn't invited to. So, and then you have the light shining up into the sky from a different set of orbs or elementals.
Yeah, because, yeah, again, a cynical person would look at this and say that's a sunset, but then you've got
no, that's facing east. That's east.
Well, there we go. That's what I wanted to hear.
That's east.
So the sun rises in the east and sets in the west.
So that's round about midnight, thereabouts. Yeah.
Yeah. So the sun can't be there at that time.
No.
That is gorgeous.
It's beautiful. Oh, some nights, wow.
Yeah.
So you can imagine coming out and finding a big moon-like structure behind it, and the trees are like this with the energy coming off it. My stomach felt sick. I felt seasick. Yeah.
Brilliant. Is there anything else in this picture that I can't see that you need to point out?
Nope.
Okay, let's move on. Oh, red lights in the trees. Is that what I'm looking at?
Elemental, there's red orbs, yes.
Wow. Yeah, I've seen lights like that before.
And also, the energy is so strong in this land that there are buildings behind my house with red alarm lights. The energy comes up, takes the power and the color of the bulb out of that alarm light, and it bounces around. When it's nice and quiet, you see them moving around. It's phenomenal. It's fun. There's a house nearby. Their doorbell, that happens to their doorbell, and you can see it quietly moving.
Well, it happened to me this morning, actually. I was in my infrared sauna after my jog, and then my car alarm started going off.
Yeah.
Which really, but I felt it before it went off. And that alarm never goes off. There was no reason for it to go off. Okay. And I'm only mentioning that because I realized that this morning there was something else going on. And that kind of thing happens to me a lot. So the reason I'm bringing that up is for anybody watching this, and when these weird things happen, you should actually keep a log book. I think we should all start logging things down. I don't know if it's worth it, because I think we're going to see all these things for real everywhere anyway soon. Anyway, so there are a lot of. Am I seeing a lot of orbs in the sky here as well?
Oh yes, they come down below the clouds. Yes.
But I'm seeing them all over this picture. There's loads of them.
Yes. Yeah, there's hundreds of them. Well, not particularly in that picture, but usually there's hundreds around my house. Yes.
Well, I can see a lot on this one, but I think in the next few, we're going to see. Look at that one.
Yeah, there you go. That's just a few. I mean, that's the back of my house. So there's less activity at the back, even though there is still some. But towards the east, that's where they seem to really have, where they come out. But they surround my house. And if I move, if I go for a walk, they all follow me over, and they stay in the patterns that they're in. They stay with me. If I go for a drive, before and during the winter, I'd go to the local grocery shops to buy when it was dark, and they'd follow me. They follow me. I think you might have a photograph there of some in the distance. But yes, that's directly over the house. Yeah. And in triangular form, as I was talking about before.
Yeah. Great pictures. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, this is now when I go shopping. Yeah.
That one in the middle there.
Yes, yeah, they come down. If I come out, they come down. And if it's very cloudy for a few days, I really start to miss them, and I pop out. And if there's anyway kind of a break in the cloud, they come down for a few moments and back up again. So we get to see each other.
I've just zoomed in on that one for myself, and I'm there's a certain type of light. It's a very white, perfectly white light that is hard to explain to people that have never seen it.
Yeah.
And it's like I've seen a phoenix type bird that was this white light that flew, and I had a witness with me. This was about 3 or 4 months ago. That literally just flew across the top of our heads at about 11 o'clock at night, and it was huge. And I can only describe it as a phoenix or a dragon or something like that, because it looked like something mythical. It didn't look like an actual bird at all.
Yeah.
And the shooting stars that I see, they're with this very specific white light. And that UFO that I described at the beginning, the light was so pure. It was there was no shade to it. It was just this like almost a cartoon-like type white light. And when I zoom in on this here, it's the same kind of white light.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it's gas, anything I know, they start to know. If I have visitors coming out, they know, and they put on a show. If these people are coming to connect with them, they put on a show.
I was talking to a man who wrote this book called UFOs and the Fish Tank. Have you seen that?
No.
This is a guy called George D. Smith, who's a farmer from Scotland.
Oh.
And he's a tractor driver. He plows fields professionally. He's an award-winning field plower. And in this book, he talks about how he has his communication very similar to you. As it develops over the years, they put a show on for his friends.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell this story about when I was living in Marrakesh. There were 14 witnesses in the house, and we watched over 35, I think it was, of these white lights doing maneuvers, dancing in the sky, and doing maneuvers that were, physically impossible for any flying machines that we currently know about. And the funny thing was, the next day, most of those, my kids were obviously witnesses to that. My kids see UFOs with me all the time. But the grown-ups that were there, they didn't sort of understand the magnitude of it.
I know.
Didn't seem to have sunk in. That's what cracks me up about it.
Yeah.
It really cracks me up. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Anyway, next picture. What are we seeing here?
Oh, this is when I went shopping locally, and this is where they follow me. I don't know if you can zoom in or if you can see them, but they're a dull yellow light up in the sky. They're waiting for me to come out, and then I like to connect with them when I go to be up high.
Yeah, I can see those.
Yes.
This is difficult. What's this one? Oh, this is the video.
It's an elemental of force, an orb coming out of the bogland at dusk. Now it's a windy night, so you can hear the wind. I didn't realize I was such a heavy breather. So I'd have the red one and a blue one and possibly 2 smaller white ones that come out.
What's interesting about the way that's shimmering to me is that's what the stars look like to me.
Yes.
Because people look at stars and just see this white light, but I see this kind of plasma,
they spin. Yeah.
Plasma energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's brilliant. And this one, loads more.
This one, as I said, I'm a member of Connecting Consciousness, and shortly after I joined, I realized there was local members, so I invited them out to meet my Sky friends. That was great. We tipped into the house for less than 5 minutes, and we came out, and this was in the sky. There was no airplane in sight. It was just a trail, and you can see the UFOs all around it as well. But to me, it was a sign like, yes, you're on the right track. You're doing the right thing. It was just a sign for 4 of us to see it. It was truly amazing. It started way down the field from nothing and ended just past there with no plane in sight, nothing.
Well, it looked, when I first saw this, I thought it looked like a chemtrail, but actually looking at it, it looks too low down.
It is very low down.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the height that that proves that isn't a chemtrail, because the chemtrails are all done above 40,000 feet.
Yeah. This is about midnight, around about midnight.
I'm only mentioning that because they do a lot of chemtrailing when everybody's asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is.
And my visitors were driving down that road, and they said that ended. It didn't continue on from there. There was nothing.
Beautiful.
It is beautiful. It was beautiful.
There's a load more.
There, that is my Big Dipper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's my Big Dipper, and they stay in that formation when they follow. Yes.
I wonder why. Is that
I was in
disguised-
Cavan. I was in Cavan over the weekend, and the Big Dipper came with me along with many others. But yeah.
Fantastic.
There's now more ships. Yes, see the ship over the trees. It's over the moon.
Okay, so we're looking at the moon. We're not looking at the sunset here.
No, that's the moon. That's facing east. The moon is rising.
Okay. Oh yeah, there's a big orb above it.
Yes.
Have you ever watched Chris Everard's stuff?
No.
Have you heard of him?
No.
Should look him up.
Okay.
Everybody should look him up. Chris Everard. Okay. He's a British journalist, and he's got loads and loads of footage of orbs and UFOs. I think he's got the stuff he produces. He produces documentary films. He's produced thousands of them over about 20 years.
Yeah.
I think it's called Enigma TV. Anybody that's interested in this subject should go and have a look at Chris Everard's work. It's extraordinary. And you'll see a lot of other stuff that backs up everything that Helen and I are talking about here.
Okay.
Now, this is definitely a ship. I recognize it immediately.
I was asking I put the intention out to the universe. I said, would it be possible to see more of a solid looking shape to appear in the sky? And this came down through dense cloud. And I stepped outside the door and I went, oh my goodness. So I ran to get my camera, came back, click, and boom, it was gone.
Well,
So,
you know,
if you can do a zoom in, you can see it's a triangular shape, through the cloud.
It's extremely grainy. I'm zooming in now.
Yeah, it's a lot of cloud, I
don't think it's worth me taking a screenshot of that zoomed in, but I reckon I've seen stuff like that before in real life. So that's all we can do is tell people what we've seen. Whether you believe it or not is up to you guys. So we've got a field full of cows here. Am I looking at cows?
I don't know. I can't really see what I'm looking at. Sorry, Mark, I can't see it.
Well, there's a field there and it's got a load of animals in it. I'm just assuming they're cows.
There's something there, but I can't see it just for the moment.
Okay, so I've got some orbs up above the trees here.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's ships. Yeah. Okay.
So these are not elementals. These are ships because
no, if they're above the tree line, yes, they're ships.
Cool. Anything you want to tell us about this picture?
Nothing. Just another ordinary night here. It's gas what becomes normal.
By the way, any Americans watching this, when an Irish person says it's gas,
yeah.
How do you explain that, Helen? It doesn't mean that there's a gas leak.
I know, no. It's just funny what becomes your normal.
Yeah. Okay, so these are elementals again behind the tree, I'm guessing?
Well, no, there's a ship above the tree, just loitering at the tree line, the top of the tree line there, I think, from what I can see. Yeah. And probably the elementals coming through the trees.
I think you should bring a book out.
You think?
Yeah, why not?
There again, you see the orb on top of the tree.
Yeah.
They're ships.
Yeah.
And I have since discovered that, well, actually, most people can do this. It's not just myself. Yeah. That if you focus on them and you send love from your heart chakra and you look at them, they'll actually shimmer.
Yeah.
They shimmer.
They do.
Yes.
They do. They talk to me. I got an email of somebody, I don't know when it was, 9 months ago, saying that I know somebody who watches your show and I want to tell you, she said, I know this sounds weird, but I want to tell you that they know that you go out and look at them every night. And and then she explained how to communicate with them. And the fact that she said they know that you go out and look at them every night was just amazing, because I do. And I'd not mentioned that on my channel or anything at that point. So I started talking to them and they start talking back.
Okay.
And
cool.
Words aren't necessarily how they talk. It's like everything you're saying is resonating with me, Helen. And I'm sharing.
And they're actually listening in now. So they're probably very happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel that as well.
Yeah.
I
So you
mean,
can see,
you know, go on. Sorry,
sorry, you can see a couple of ships there. At least
above
two.
the
Yes.
top.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's one between the clouds there. I can see as
Yep.
well near the bottom.
Mm-hmm. I had a friend coming around to dinner a number of months ago who was quite open spiritually, and it was a very cloudy night. And I had asked that even through the clouds, could some of them come down, just so she could meet them and see them. So I said, look, at sometime between 6 and 8 o'clock, she was coming for a bit of dinner, and I knew she wouldn't stay long. So I was continually watching out, continuous cloud, blanket of cloud, and next thing I looked out, boom, one had dropped down.
Yeah.
So I'd come quick. So yeah, one had dropped down, and she was able to meet it and see it, and yeah. So we went for a little walk down the roadway, and it followed, you know. And
Well, I'm glad you mentioned. I'm glad you mentioned the spiritual word, because the UFO community has split in the last, I don't know, number of years, because this is a deeply spiritual thing. It's not little green men in metal spaceships. It's interdimensional spiritual energy that this is really about. Well, that's the end of the slideshow. Yeah, that was great. Thanks for sharing those.
You're very welcome.
So, before we started recording, you said, I don't know what they are. I just know they're there, and you're willing to share your experience.
Yeah, I have no answers. I just have photographic proof. Yes.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to mention that to anybody watching. This is not about saying we know what they are. What we're saying is they're there. There's something there.
Yes.
Helen's got pictures. I've got stories. There's millions of us around the world that have stories.
Yes.
I had some past life work done recently, and I was told that I was abducted loads of times as a kid, and all these memories were blocked, and there was this grey that was attached to me, so sucking energy out of me. There was a portal in my liver, and then I had these visions through my pineal gland or pituitary gland or whatever, that of my head being operated on by 3 greys, and these visions are very vivid. I'm only sharing that because anybody watching this that thinks this stuff is nonsense, really, you've got to dig into yourself, because, as Helen says, there's this. I mean, Helen, you told me that you only really woke up, started waking up 2 years ago.
Well, I'm awake 1 year.
1 year. Yeah, because this is the time to be awake.
But I knew something was very, very wrong. I knew this was something that wasn't right. I just felt it was never right. From the time I was quite young, I never fit in. I never felt right. I knew it just was something very, very wrong. But yeah,
go on. Sorry. No, sorry.
I know it just took. I had to go through a little bit of life's tumultuous journeys, and towards the end of that, then yes, I became awake.
Yeah.
Can I just say too, I have a story from yesterday morning. I was away for the weekend. Now, I don't drink or smoke or do drugs, but I wasn't feeling well when I came home. So yesterday morning I woke up about 4:30 or so, and I really had a longing to see my sky friends.
I woke up 4 yesterday. It was really weird, because it was.
Anyway, let me know that. So I popped outside, blanket of cloud. I thought, oh bugger, you know. So I hung around for a moment with the dog. It was quite bright, even though it was very, very cloudy. And then I looked over to the left, and here was an arrow in the clouds that had cleared off. I mean, a perfect point of an arrow. I mean, perfect point of you couldn't make it up. And then a bit of a wobbly stick coming out the back, pointing to the left. I thought, oh my goodness, I have to look over here. I'm being pointed. And here, another circle of cloud had opened to a clear sky, and one of the ships dipped down. One of the larger ships dipped down and was pulsing. I went, oh gosh, thank you so much. I really needed to see you. Thank you. So with that, boom, it was gone.
Yeah,
wow.
Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
That reminds. I was in Stockport one day in Cheshire when we lived there, and the kids were young. I was taking them to a rock climbing thing. It was about midday, and I'm always looking up, even driving the car. And I was like,
me too.
I said, kids, we're being followed by a UFO. They were like, where? And I said, it's up there, and it was hiding behind this cloud.
Yeah.
And as we looked up, it kept popping out and saying hello. It was really
Yeah. Yeah. Well, mine actually, what they do, if they know where you're going, they'll go directly ahead of me. But you see, I like to just play around with them. So I go a different direction. So then they stay parallel to the car. They don't know where I'm going, you know. So it's great fun.
It's like kiss chase.
Yeah, we go for midnight runs, the odd old time, you know. Midnight runs. We never know where we go. Yeah.
Well, I've run out of time, but I really enjoyed that, and
Thanks, Mark.
I really appreciate you sharing that. And I know, you know, living in this country, living anywhere in the world, but this country in particular, it's like, oh, the little green people, is it? You know, they will be taking the mickey, but it doesn't matter, because it just doesn't matter. I think we're at a time where the reason why they're revealing themselves is because I think we're all going to see them.
Yeah, the magic is coming back. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Know your man-made lights. Know your ET lights. Absolutely. Know your lights.
Yeah.
Look around you.
I'm feeling very optimistic about it, because in many ways they've given me enormous strength.
Oh, me too. I had the best winter I ever had in my life. I wasn't coming in, but I was going out every 10 minutes, going out. So yeah, it was great. And even now, if I'm feeling really tired and I need to go to bed early, I always wait till it's dark so I can say hello and goodbye, you know. So yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. It's good to meet another stargazer, and
yeah,
really thanks for taking all those pictures and sharing them with the world, because they're lovely.
I know. Sure, I love doing it. I want to share it. It's not about me. I'm just the messenger. It's about them. And
well, you know, you could have done this 9 months ago when I emailed you back.
No, I wasn't confident enough. No, I didn't understand what was going on anyway. You know, now I know better.
Wow,
I had to leave my job because of all this stupidity in the world. Yeah.
Well, good for you, because that's what I've been telling everybody they need to do. It's like, oh, what about my mortgage? None of that matters. Just you've got to stand in your truth now. Everybody's got to stand in their truth.
So having that time to myself gave me time to think and to go within, you know, and discover yourself and know what you're about and why you're here, you know.
Well, you're obviously vibrating at a frequency that they like, which is great. You are now all over the internet as a messenger, which is also great.
Yeah.
And I thank you for your courage to do that, because I know that does take courage.
Thank you.
And I'm sure, hopefully, they'll be great. Well, I know they will be grateful, and I hope the watchers, the viewers, the listeners will be grateful too, because it's wonderful to share that stuff. And hope we'll speak again soon, and we'll be in touch. Because
great, that'll be fun. Great, Mark. Yes, you're welcome anytime.
I'm going to come and see you. I'm going to come and see you.
Please do. No, weather-wise, clear night. Okay, you know yourself.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, or else I'll have to just conjure up miracles, and that's just really hard on the system, you know.
Or just open out the whiskey. Which you haven't got any of. So
yeah.
all right, brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.